in Hwasin's base, taking pod shots of those SCVs and still not killing them, forcing Hwasin back out of minerals. So, you know, little economic damage done by Flash, but it looks like almost mirror build orders and tank switches. I mean, both players just playing textbook vulture heavy TVT, and this seems like what the metagame is really shifting to, you know, really. I mean, I think this era really came around with maps like Wuthering Heights and Longinus, Rush Hour, where you kind of need the early vultures, and it kind of all the players kind of really liked them, and you see just the flexibility that you have where you can contain. It's really difficult to break heavy mines in TVT just because you don't have any sort of detectors, and Hwasin is forced to keep that one tank back. You know, it seems like he could just sneak a couple vultures back and kill that, but Flash is moving in here, and Hwasin's units are out of position. Hwasin losing a lot of vultures there. Hwasin with a nice surround, now coming around the back of Flash's side, and now Flash's units are actually out of position, kind of spread out. I think Hwasin is a little bit better arc here. He's going to take this battle, just judging by the vulture count. I don't know where Flash's tanks are. Hwasin's tanks are in the back there, just doing a little bit of damage, but Flash, he has, looks like 6 tanks, but he's afraid to push forward because I don't think he has any scans. You know, even though there was hardly any mines, he couldn't safely move all of his tanks forward, but that was the advantage that Hwasin had, going for tanks just a little bit later so that he could put out mines outside of Flash's base. And it looks like we're going to start to see kind of a no man's land here form between the two forces now that both players have a reasonable amount of tanks. And I think those are Flash's mines. Nice pick off there, and wow, getting all of them there. So excellent control versus the mines, although tanks are actually pretty smart versus mines. Hwasin now looks like he wants to keep Flash's tank count down, and really it's going to be tank versus tank here, and Flash putting down his 3rd base as we see, and Hwasin's still not doing that. So
I think it's already up.
Yeah, it's already up. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention if he lifted that or builded that, but Flash is going to take an advantage here, and it's up to Hwasin if he wants to take a 3rd base, or it looks like he's going to go in for a counter.
Oh man, he's moving into siege tanks. Wow.
Yeah, moving into siege tanks.
Huge
not that
nuts
smart,
by Hwasin.
He's
actually going to take this.
Yeah, nice move there, moving up all these tanks. I'm surprised he's not actually laying any mines, but Hwasin is losing a lot of valuable units here, and he's going to need to break every single one of Flash's tanks here, and actually perfect siege. He's going to actually, no, he doesn't get that last one, but besides that, Hwasin, nice move, and if Hwasin can move up and contain Flash in his bridges, Flash does not have any sort of dropship, and Flash desperately trying to rally tanks up, getting SCVs to repair. Flash can't lose that control of that bridge, and that's the risk that you take of going for the early 3rd base. If you give your opponent just a little unit advantage and they out-micro you in a big battle, and if you lose control of your bridges, I mean, it's pretty much game over because there's absolutely no way you can push out versus siege tanks on those bridges, and Hwasin now moving up with a little fleet of vultures there, but all those mines are going to see him. Hwasin just clearing out the mines, but forcing Flash to split his valuable tanks, and it looks like that one tank is not going to get picked off, and Hwasin now backing up. So Flash,
no, yeah, he got it.
Oh yeah, he did get the tank. So Hwasin may be able to push up if he can take out Flash's 3rd base. He's definitely going to get a lead in this game. Both players floating barracks between the 2 groups of tanks, desperately repairing. I mean, tank count is huge in a game like this where you're just now getting your 3rd gas, and there's so many vultures into play.
That's a nice tank positioning there by Flash, but it's just going to get picked off by these vultures pretty easily. Although, pretty cute, I'd say. Hwasin doing a really good job being aggressive in this game. Oh, wow. Getting both of the tanks blown away, but he's got so many vultures there. Oh, man, 3 more tanks coming in. Flash is going to be in trouble here. He's going to have a hard time holding the space. I think Hwasin could have definitely moved those tanks up a little farther and completely cut off the defense here. But either way, oh, man, tons of SCVs are going to get blown away. I mean, he's going to save the command center by floating it, but that was a lot of SCVs. All Hwasin needs to do here is not lose too many units, and that's going to work out really well in his favor. I mean, Hwasin basically showing that he's huge nuts and having it go to his advantage. I mean, that attack he made at the middle was just so ballsy, and it really worked out in his favor. Even though he might have lost a few more units, I mean, he really got a great position, and he definitely put the fear into Flash and made Flash afraid to you know, send units to defend that expansion. It cost him, you know, it cost him the expansion. He's now he's down at the base. Hwasin's got his 3rd base up, and it looks like there's no chance that Flash is going to do any damage to it anytime soon. So this is, I mean, looking really good for Hwasin. Just excellent play and really taking control with his gutsy play.
Oh, he can get the gas from there.
Yeah, he's in the shelling distance of the gas. I think he might need to scan to get it, but he's going to be able to hit it for sure once he gets vision of it. And he's got that whole area cordoned off with siege tanks. If Flash wants to break that off, he's going to cost him a lot of units, and that's exactly what Hwasin wants. All Hwasin really has to do now is sit in this position, and everything's kind of going in his favor. He just kind of has to hold these positions and keep macroing off his third base. Oh, the gas going down for Flash. That's really
only on
bad.
one gas. I mean,
yeah.
Unless Flash can break this right now, I mean, I'd say it's game over because he's losing just so much gas now. Every second that this game goes on, Hwasin is just building up such a tank advantage, and Flash probably building up a huge excess of minerals. But Hwasin has just been macroing excellently there. I mean, he had that very small amount of time where he could break Flash and get control of that third base because Flash put it up almost like a timing push on that base. But Hwasin actually just macroed excellently, and looks like Flash now going for the break, and Hwasin with 3 tanks very well placed, but Flash using the vultures to tank hits. 2 tanks go down, but Hwasin forced to move his 3 tanks down. But even then, Hwasin only needs 1 tank in that area, even though he has 3. He only needs 1 tank to take out that refinery, and Flash is going to need to push up high ground versus siege tanks. And now it looks like Hwasin, with a Wraith coming out,
right
he's going to use that to pick up tanks. Wow, he's actually doing it. He got every single tank on there, so Flash, nice job. And Hwasin with a single Wraith picking away at those tanks. But one thing to note is Flash only has 2 tanks in the middle of the map, and now that Hwasin has that Wraith, he's going to use that for map vision, and he's going to be able to see exactly what Flash is doing. Hwasin now transferring SCVs to that third gas. Now he's going to have 3 gases online, with Flash is still 1 at this point, and even though Flash is getting a small tank advantage, I mean, Hwasin is just doing an excellent job of keeping his lead. He made 1 decisive move, cleared that third base, and now just using everything in his power. I mean, I think it would be wise of Hwasin to try and push forward with his tanks in the middle. I mean, I don't know what he knows in terms of Flash's forces, but Flash just doesn't have enough. And, you know, Flash is a very strong player, and Hwasin has a huge advantage, and I think Hwasin definitely can win this game, but he should really, now that he's built up a huge gas advantage, he should try and make a move and end it now, because he can't let Flash back in this game from where he is at this point.
Absolutely. But, I mean, Flash is just so far behind. It's going to really take a lot. Good vulture move right there, not sacrificing any more tanks. Oh, Hwasin being smart, he's gonna go, I think he's targeting that tank. Oh, he still didn't get either of the tanks, which kind of sucks for him, but he definitely did his job. I mean, he delayed so much with that contain. And Hwasin just doing everything right. I mean, the Wraith was a really cute move. Okay, Flash actually going to break out into the middle here, or at least he's going to try to. He's going to lose a lot of tanks in the process, but he's definitely going to clear those tanks out. Nice mines by Flash, just kind of minimizing how many shots Hwasin's tanks. But I have to imagine that Hwasin's probably got a huge army of tanks built up, just waiting to stream across. And there it is, coming up to the middle, setting up a really nice tank line contain. And there's no way that Flash is going to be able to break that.
Ooh, nice move from Flash.
Nice move from Flash. Oh. Did he scan up there? He got vision so quickly. I think the vultures actually kind of gave it away. So that actually came out pretty evenly. Well, no, I think Hwasin lost more tank. Either way, it wasn't as much of a massacre as expected. If Hwasin, just preventing Flash from getting that base, if Hwasin gets some siege tanks up on that cliff, that's going to really help him hold that ground. This is becoming a much scrappier game than I thought it would be. Flash has definitely been able to keep up in the tank count. I don't know what Hwasin's spending all his gas on. I mean, I know he built the 1 Wraith. But even building the Wraith, he forced Flash to build 2 Goliaths, which is, you know, just equal cost and gas. Oh, if that mine went off, that would have been pretty big. Either way, I mean, Flash is playing really well and trying to get himself back into this game, but he's definitely at a decisive disadvantage. I mean, Hwasin now got the dropship lead to 3 dropships. He's going to just be able to wreak havoc, especially with a gas advantage. That's a lot of tanks for Flash, but just getting a lot of them picked off. I mean, he really can't afford to just keep losing tanks at this point. I think he'd be better off not even trying to break that contain and just waiting for dropships. I mean, he cannot afford to lose that many tanks. Not being as behind as he is.
I mean, I think Flash is doing just an excellent job, though, fighting tooth and nail. I mean, trading vultures for tanks, even if you lose a full control group of vultures for only 1 or 2 tanks, is just a good trade, because he needs to get back that gas advantage at every tank he gets out. And wow, lots of, no vultures in that drop at all. Full 6 tanks and 4 Goliaths. And this is going to be really difficult for Flash to break. And actually, sieging tanks close, using the vultures to take hits, kind of poor micro there from Hwasin, losing most of his drop, because the few tanks that were sieged were focused firing on the vulture. But Hwasin moving back with his dropships. Really interesting play from Hwasin.